Bring in my legal panel, fantastic legal panel to debate this. Lisa Bloom, legal analyst for Avo.com for the prosecution. Stacey Honowitz, Florida prosecutor for the prosecution. And Adam Swickle and Evangeline Gomez for the defense. All right, let's start with Lisa Bloom.
Look, Jane, we still don't have a scintilla of evidence in this trial other than Jodi's own testimony that she was abused or beaten in any way. We're still waiting for it. We're many weeks into this trial. I don't think it's ever going to come. All of this graphic sexual stuff appears to be between consenting adults, and frankly, as filthy as it is, it's pretty tame by contemporary standards compared to, say, 50 Shades of Grey. It certainly sounds to me like consensual sex.
Lisa, I love you. We're dear friends.
Did you read 50 Shades of Grey?
I read the dirty parts. Let's put it that way.
Did you read 50 Shades of Grey that sold like 50 million copies?
I did.
I think that's worse.
And this is worse. This is worse. This makes 50 Shades of Grey look like Highlights magazine, Lisa.
I mean, come on.
Look, if the jury needed any more proof that Travis demeaned Jodi, these text messages are really what they are offering. And listen to what reference Travis gave to Jodi during sex. Listen to this, and then we'll continue our debate.
He also says in this message, "You are the ultimate slut in bed." What does that mean to you? Is there some history behind that?
Yes.
What's that history?
Sometimes he would call me that when we were having sex.
Adam Swickle. He calls her a slut. He calls her a whore. He says he wants to tie her to a tree. He says he wants to make a porno with her. I mean, does this have an impact on the jurors, all of whom are human beings, some of whom are men, some of whom are women?
Absolutely, Jane. And let's stop the game right here. Let's stop sitting up here and saying there's no proof, there's no evidence. Travis is this wonderful guy, he's a Mormon, or he just wrote some bad letters to her, or he's just another man treating her the way a lot of men treat people. This is disgusting. This man's behavior is disgusting. It's pornographic. It's borders on pedophilia, and it's abusive and manipulative of her. We now have our evidence. The jury's going to hear this evidence. The jury's going to absorb this evidence. Experts are going to opine that this evidence is critical, and this girl is starting to really, with her attorneys, weave a web of deception of this man, which I believe is going to increase her chances of an outright acquittal.
Stacey Honowitz.
Oh, my God. I don't know what courtroom you're watching, quite frankly. I don't know where the evidence is. Here's what happened. She drove to his house 1,000 miles, had sex with him. The guy's in the shower, and she killed him. And all you have now is filler and porno and just to hear about what a bad, perverted guy is. And I didn't know that if you're into pornography, you deserve to be killed.
And
that's basically what you have here.
This isn't pornography. This is a
pedophile,
you said it.
Stacey. You just said to him, he's into pornography. That's what you said.
Let me tell you something. If I walk into your
wait a second, Stacey, he said that he wanted to make a porno with her. And I'm not saying it, but you can't say he's not into pornography. Okay.
He's a pervert. Big deal. He doesn't deserve to die because he's a pervert.
5% of young guys want to do
being a pervert.
Evangeline, and then we'll go to Lisa.
Jane, today was a big win for the defense. If you remember earlier in this case, the prosecution submitted a motion stating that they didn't think these emails, these text messages, the phone conversation were relevant and that they were hearsay. The defense finally got it in, and guess what? Now, in the jury's eyes, Jodi Arias looks as if she has credibility because the statements that she stated are corroborated by these text messages, emails, and the phone sex conversation that was played in court.
All right. I'm going to give Lisa a chance for a rebuttal.
I mean, this is insane to me. This is the way that young people talk, whether we like it or not. This is a consensual relationship. They weren't married. They didn't live together. They didn't have kids. There was no reason for her to keep going back and back and back, other than the fact that it was a consensual relationship that she was enjoying.
All right, but we have to talk about what's the power and control wheel of domestic violence, which says, you know, male privilege, demeaning, threats, bullying, and isolation, which we'll get to. We're just getting started. ultimately, and I'll throw some tough questions at Adam Swickle and Evangeline Gomez, you're defending their defense. But is this essentially dirty pool to take consensual, kinky sex? And you could read books about what the bottom in a relationship that involves erotic humiliation gets out of it. And some people say the bottom is the top because the bottom ultimately is even more powerful than the top in some of these situations. That then to turn that into abuse is really dirty pool. Evangeline.
It's not. It absolutely isn't. Look, what the defense is establishing is that there was a relationship where Travis had total power and control, even dominated this woman. He made her mind mush. He knew she was damaged, and he preyed upon it. He manipulated her. He could have found someone healthy, but no, he wanted her because he saw the deficiencies that she had. This is where he was king, and he exploited her for all that he could. She was the total sex toy.
At what point does she take responsibility for her own choices as an adult woman? You know, as a woman, I find a lot of this offensive. She says,
hold it, let her finish.
She says, I like it. She says, I love it. She travels to go and be with him. She responds, I'm sure, to these texts in a very encouraging way. She is not a child, and she's responsible for her choices. You know, I blogged about this on avo.com yesterday because I'm so sick of the idea of she's calling herself a battered woman. I think that's so insulting to women who really are and who fought for a long time to get rights for battered women. Somebody who goes back, who participates, who's a grown woman, who says, I like it, I love it, is not a battered woman.
I agree with you, Lisa. It's almost as if this defense is saying that women are children and that they can be controlled by men in a way that women cannot control men.
But Jane, she made it very clear. She was scared of him. She felt bullied. She felt intimidated. Even when she was in Hollister, California, and he called her. He called her.
All right, hold on. Settle down.
And punch her. She felt as if he was going to go through the phone and punch her.
Okay.
That was miles away.
Stacey Honowitz. Let's hear it, Stacey Honowitz.
How fearful and scared could she be? She got in a car, drove 1,000 miles to his house. It wasn't like she was in the bed with him and he put a gun on her. I mean, you have to be able to distinguish between a consensual relationship and abuse.
No
and you're trying to mix the two, and it doesn't work.
We honestly don't know.
All right, to quote Bill Maher, new rules, no interrupting. Okay, Adam Swickle.
It's the same old thing you hear from them over and over again. You have a prosecutor who prosecutes these cases in Stacey. If I went to Stacey's office with Jodi Arias as a friend or a colleague, and I brought this girl to her, this man would have been prosecuted in 10 minutes. He would have been hung up, public execution, and they would have done everything they could do to slam this guy. Now, because she's a defendant and she's bringing forward the other side of the coin, oh no, she's not abused. Battered women engage in this conduct every single day. And if this isn't enough, excuse me, Stacey, if this isn't enough, then I'm going to walk my 2 cases I have in Broward County just like this over to the state attorney's office, and I want them both dismissed now.
If you came to my office and you said to me, she wants to prosecute him because he called her a whore and a slut, I tell you to turn around and walk out the door.
He beat her, Stacey.
No, wait a second. You have no evidence. We have evidence that he called her a slut and a whore. We have no evidence that he beat her. Okay,
then
that's the difference.
She testified.
That's what I'm saying. They're asking us to take a leap. There is no corroboration that he physically beat her. And if that's all that they can prove, that he humiliated her, I mean, I agree with Lisa Bloom. Women are not children. And if we want to be of equal stature in society, I have a mother who was born before women had the right to vote. She's 97 years old in a week or so. And if we want to be of equal stature, we have to take equal responsibility. We're adults, and we can't play the victim. We have to have the responsibility to say, no, I'm not going to put up with that. And maybe that's what this whole trial is about, is to allow women to see what happens when they give away their power. More on the other side.